So this general idea has gone through so many different variations that I'm just going to settle on the shorter and simpler one. Why Pokemon Black and White's UI is so good. The main aesthetic of Generation 5's UI is futuristic, and with the inclusion of the Seagear, this seems like a good choice, as the Seagear's UI is quite futuristic in itself, so extending that out to the rest of the game seems like a good idea, and a good idea it was. Let's start with the start menu. The start menu looks really nice, with the glossy, skeuomorphic look that reminds me of Gran Turismo. This by itself is great, but when combined with the blue highlight colour, it just makes it look all the more futuristic, as blue seems to be quite ingrained in futuristic styles. One bad thing about the start menu, however, isn't to do with the look of it, but it's to do with its functionality. To get to the menu, you must press X. To then navigate it with the D-pad that you're probably using because you pressed X, you must first activate the ability to use the D-pad on it by pressing one of the directions on the D-pad or by pressing A or B, which takes time to do and is a hassle. Then you can use the D-pad to navigate it. This is a big step back from what made Heart Gold and Soul Silver's start menu so good, was because in those games you didn't even need to press X to get to the start menu, as it was always there. So you could just press on the button you wanted on the touchscreen instead of pressing X and then reaching for the touchscreen, which just takes time. Since the rest of Generation 5's UI embraces this general futuristic style, I won't talk about it much more unless I see fit. Next up is the bag screen. I very much like this screen, because it seems to be the natural progression from Generation 4, because in those games you could tap on the touchscreen to get to a pouch quickly, and in Generation 5 they aren't pouches anymore, but actual bags and containers, making it even more skeuomorphic and realistic in its portrayal of a bag than it was in previous generations. You can tap on the bag or container you want and it will bring up those items, which is very fast and easy, especially if you've just used the touchscreen on the start menu to get to the bag screen. But if you aren't using the touchscreen, or it's broken like on my DS, then you can still navigate it using the D-pad and A and B buttons also. Something really awesome about Generation 5's menus is that you can press X on any of them and it will bring you straight back to the game, leaving out the hassle of mashing B until you leave all of the menus like in previous generations. This just makes it really fast and simple to get back to the game, which is very good. Something interesting to look at is how the battle screen's buttons changed between Black and White and Black and White 2, because in Black and White they're more rounded and bubbly, if that's even a word, making them less futuristic and more childish almost. Comparing this to Black and White 2's buttons, there's a stark difference. Not only are Black and White 2's buttons darker in general, but they're also way more angular and simple, fitting in a lot more with the futuristic style that the rest of the UI has. So all in all, I like the style of Generation 5's UI a lot, as not only does it remind me of old skeuomorphic designs, for example Aqua from macOS, etc., from its gradients and backgrounds, but it also reminds me of Gran Turismo's UI, also because of its gradients, but not so much because of its backgrounds. Anyway, if the DS's screens weren't so small, I'd enjoy it even more, but it is what it is. So I hope you like this video, links to whatever are in the description, and have fun. Happy face.